The first impression that comes to our mind about any college: tall buildings, big classrooms, large lobby areas, thick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects, nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona, cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.
Who knows, after March 2020, this dark room will going to be shut down and cinema will take us to the journey of new alternatives. Today, we all have gathered to look upon the new avenues and opportunities of cinema and cinema admirers in the wake of post-COVID-19 pandemic. I am Manmeet Kaur, Assistant Professor, DME Media School, Delhi Metropolitan Education. Take this privilege to welcome our speaker of the day, Mr. Cyrus Dastur, the founder of Shamiana, to the BG Verghese lecture series. The theme for today's lecture series is Future of Cinema in the Post-COVID World. I also welcome our students who are making serious efforts to cope up with this difficult time and are always keen to learn and understand the various possible avenues for their future endeavors. I also welcome Head of the Department, Professor Dr. Susmita Bala, Dean DME Media School and Director Studios and Production at DME, Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena, to this lecture series. And I also welcome all the faculty members of the Media School. Now, I request Professor Dr. Bala to formally welcome our speaker of the day.
I welcome Mr. Cyrus Dastur in today's special lecture under BG Verghese lecture series. Mr. Dastur is a filmmaker, film director. He is an activist who has spearheaded the short film movement in India. He is a film trainer as well, shouldering the responsibility of preparing the young generation. In view of COVID-19 pandemic, films have got a beating, so there are apprehensions all around. Mr. Dastur will help us in understanding the impact of the pandemic on the present and future film production. I am sure that the students will benefit a lot from the lecture of Mr. Dastur. Let us all gear up to listen to him. So thank you, sir.
Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me here, and thank you to Sir Saxena for thinking of me and inviting me to such a beautiful. And I mean, we've been chatting on our WhatsApp and everything, and it's a pleasure being here. And thank you for inviting me on this platform, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so may I begin?
Yes, please, sir. Yes.
So first of all, as we all know, we have. I would like to say, let's try and make this as informal and as interactive as possible, because I'm sure students must be, kind of by now probably bored just listening to people on sessions and Zoom, and it's many a times in lectures, it's probably like a one-way traffic. But the fun of cinema or the fun of media is that it's interactive and it is something that you do because you are passionate about it. You're not studying cinema. I mean, I'm at least talking about the subject that I'm talking about. You're not studying or understanding cinema because somebody's asking you to do it. You're doing it because you love cinema. I mean, that goes for any art or any media studies. So I just like to make it clear to all of you all that please be as interactive as possible. Even if you cannot keep your cameras on, I can understand for a variety of reasons. At least, unmute yourself, ask questions, make comments, but just be interactive, because that will really help me. Otherwise, just talking one way to a screen is, not really fun. So yeah, that's my first request. And yeah, let's kind of begin. We're talking about something that all of us are thinking about, but honestly, none of us know. I mean, if only we could predict future, I'm sure we wouldn't have landed up in 2020. I was just listening to a joke, kind of some days back, that imagine, somebody must have asked you in 2015, saying, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And all of us would have given all these very fancy, tall answers saying, oh, I'll be doing this and I'll be doing that. I can bet my $1 million on this, that none of us, even a few months before the whole, or even a few days before, this whole lockdown phase started last March, I'm sure none of us knew what really was coming up. हमें लगा था यार maximum 2 हफ्ता, 3 हफ्ता, 4 हफ्ता, एक महीना, डेढ़ महीना, and by May, June we'll be back. We'll be going to work in trains and buses, and in Delhi you have metros, and we'll be back to normal lives. But yes, the world has changed, and whether it's changed for the good, the bad, or the ugly, I think we can answer best for ourselves. For some of us, well, it's been a welcome change because we've gotten time to introspect. For some of us, a lot of unfortunate things have happened, maybe on the personal front, professional front, financial front, a whole lot of issues. So yes, it has, it's been a mixed bag for all of us. But today, what we are going to be talking about primarily, just a second, uh, primarily is about the future of cinema. Uh, what exactly is cinema that we know about, or the way we know cinema as? I mean, we're primarily talking about future of cinema and not just the future of entertainment. I mean, I could have very happily said future of entertainment because entertainment can be consumed through a lot of mediums. You can consume it through television, you can consume it through mobile phones, you can go and watch live shows, live plays, live entertainment. But we're specifically talking about cinema. And the way we know cinema, yes, we see cinema on satellite channels, we see cinema on your mobile phones, etc. But I think the way we've all known cinema all these years since the time we've been growing up is watching films on the big screen, right? I mean, पहले के ज़माने में you used to have only single theaters. In the last 10 years, 15 years, it's been single theaters and multiplexes, but it still remains the big screen magic. Now, obviously, we also have a lot of television sets which are large screen ones. You can say, oh, the speaker system or the cinema surround system that you can install in your houses is also not bad. A lot of films are now being released on OTT. In fact, some of the films, a lot of us, especially the elders in the family, are more and more used to seeing films in their houses rather than going to cinema halls. In fact, a lot of large families, middle class, upper, or even lower middle class families, have been watching films at their houses because, unfortunately, ticket prices over the last few years have been, like, I would say, pretty unaffordable for a large section of the people. If the ticket prices are anywhere between 250 to 300 rupees, so for a family of four to go out on a festival and watch a film, everything put together runs up a bill of nothing less than 2 to 3,000 rupees, which for you and me might sound very affordable because ठीक है चलता है हमारे लिए, but for a very large section of people in this country, 2 to 3,000 rupees is a lot of money to be spent in one day. But the way we know it, what is the future of cinema? Theaters have been shut in the last year, a little more than a year now. We honestly don't know when theaters will reopen. If you were to ask me, without sounding very pompous and prophetic, I would like to stick my neck out and say that I don't see theaters opening up at least till Diwali. Yes, you will have theaters opening up in a staggered format. You will have maybe Kaduka films releasing, but that's not really what I'm talking about. For theaters to run as a business, because please remember, it's one thing to say, अरे यार वो PVR में फिल्म लगी वो तो खाली जाता है, INOX खाली जाता है, फलाना खाली जाता है, so on and so forth. But these are really large businesses. They run with a lot of capital. You have a lot of people to pay salaries to. There's a lot of electricity bill that goes in. So it is a lot of cost to just keep this whole machinery of a multiplex or a screen running. And that is also the reason why cinema halls will not open till they are assured of a steady supply of content. So one producer can release because he says, "Chalo yaar, dekh lete hain." You release a film, say one Friday of the month, and then the next 3 Fridays you don't have enough supply of content coming in. And film owners, film producers, film studios will also not be very confident of releasing because they really don't know what the response will be. Will people really stick themselves out and come to the theater halls? Uh, that also remains to be seen. And that could be because of two reasons. First is people may be conscious about, the pandemic is not gone and it's not going away in a hurry. And let's be very, very realistic about that. Second thing is going to cinema is not just a fun experience, it's also an expensive experience. As we just discussed a while back. It's not like 50 rupees mein gaye aur film dekh ke aaye. It doesn't really work that. There is a certain amount of money that you have to pay to buy the tickets. And a lot of people have to buy tickets for movies to run and do some kind of a sensible business. Right? It's a business at the end of the day. It's not just you feeling very gratifying कि मैंने आज हीरो को स्क्रीन पे देखा. I mean, that's one part of it. The other part is there's a supply chain. There is a business chain that runs, and there are thousands of cinema halls, not just a few hundreds, but thousands of cinema halls. Just to kind of fill you in with a little trivia, there's close to 14 to 15,000 screens across the country. Majority of them are still single screens. Yeah, but even single screens have a large ticket price. So you have to have a lot of people wanting to go out there, A, because of health concerns, they might think twice, because a lot of people have lost jobs. How many people may go out and spend that kind of money? So it's going to be a cycle. It's going to be like a chicken and egg scenario that if the economy improves, people start getting money in their hands. Because please remember, watching a film watching a film is fun, it's entertaining, but it is discretionary spending. It's not primary, it's not essential, it's not a necessity to your existence. When you get money in your hand, the first thing people will do, any family will do, is take care of their ration, take care of their stocks, take care of their medicine, take care of the education. So cinema, as much as we value it, as much as we celebrate it, unfortunately, in a country like India, comes like, a little lower, quite lower on your priority list, especially at a time when you also have options like OTT platforms, which are virtually free. I mean, they're coming to you at 50 rupees and 100 rupees a month, and you can watch as much as you want, and even films like are not really doing themselves a favor by coming out with the quality of films that are coming out. Okay, you might go and watch a particular star's film because it's Eid or Diwali or Christmas, but those are maximum 5 days in a year, 5 weekends in a year. And how many stars would you want to really go out and watch films? It's great to say, oh, I love Rajkumar Rao, oh, I love Vikrant Messi, oh, I love Falana new age actor, and so on and so forth. But these guys, and I'm being very realistic, do not, do not mean business. You may like somebody on Facebook and you may follow that person on Instagram, does not mean anything. Most of the new age stars are exactly that. They're Instagram stars. They're like kings of Facebook and Instagram. They don't mean or necessarily translate into business. So, what is the future of cinema? Will cinema halls continue to survive, or will they unfortunately phase out? It's a $1 million question. I mean, I think we can make points of argument for both. I can say, oh no, people will always want big screen entertainment. And I would say that to a very large extent because I would always want to watch a Spider-Man or a James Bond, or a Fast and Furious on the big screen only because that's what it is produced for. Like I'm personally waiting for James Bond and like a Sherlock Holmes, and I will only go and watch that on the big screen. I mean, I've seen James Bond on TV, but my first experience, like I remember the first time I saw a Skyfall or a Casino Royale or even Die Another Day and a whole lot of these films, and even as a kid, were always on the big screen because that's what a James Bond film is supposed to. Would I do the same for a Hindi film? Maybe one or two films in a year. That also I'm not sure. That would also be, just impulsive decisions. कि चलो यार आज Sunday है दोपहर में I'm getting bored. I'll call up a friend or I'll go with some family member कि चलो यार film देखने चलते हैं. But that's not how a business would survive. You need to have a dedicated following. The reason why Amitabh Bachchan or Jitendra or Shatrughan Sinha or Rajesh Khanna, I don't know how many of these actors do you know, or because you're from a much, much younger generation. I don't know how many of these actors' films have you seen. But these guys were huge, huge actors, popular stars in their heydays because there were a lot of people, I'm sure Amrish sir would agree with me, there were a lot of people when we were kids, we would go and watch an Amitabh Bachchan film because, the times were different and all of us used to love their films. I don't know how many people would go and wake up and say, "Hey, Varun Dhawan ka picture aa raha hai, we have to go and watch." Yeah, Ranveer Singh ka picture aa raha hai, we have to go and watch. Yeah, Alia Bhatt ka picture aa raha hai. As I said, a few comments or a few hundred comments on Instagram doesn't really mean the person is a crowd puller. Yeah, I mean, I can get 5 lakh likes on Instagram because I can buy fake likes. Does that mean 5 lakh people will come and watch me if I was to perform in a stadium? Your guess is as good as mine. So, what is the future of entertainment? I am personally eager to find out. As I said, you know, will it survive? I truly wish and hope it does because all of us, and I'm including your generation as well, probably come from a world where we have enjoyed and celebrated films on a big screen. But having said that, will a lot of films that we have seen in the last 5 years or 10 years, will they really pass the muster of the big screen? And when I'm saying pass the muster, I'm not saying they're bad films. I'm just saying that are they films that people would want to go out, spend on average 300, 400 rupees? When I'm saying 400 rupees, guys, I don't just mean the ticket price, right? Just think about it. When you go to a PVR, you end up spending the travel fare, you end up spending the ticket money, you end up spending money which with the popcorn or a samosa or whatever. And 300, 400, I'm counting on the lower side. I'm counting on the lower side. On an average, just think about it. Maybe you don't really think that much because you go with somebody elder in your family and your mother, father, or somebody elder in your family may be taking care of it. But you will end up spending nothing less than 400 to 500 rupees if you are going and watching any film on a weekend. And if you're going three, four of y'all, you would end up spending 2,000 rupees per family. How many families would want to go and watch a film which is not even a big screen experience? When I'm saying a big screen experience, I am not questioning the quality of the content. You could very happily say that, a certain film like a Masan, I mean, I'm just giving you an example because all of us would, is better than, say, a Salman Khan film, right? Because the kind of society or the kind of intellectual circle that you and I come from would supposedly prefer a Masan over a Radhe. But you have to give it to them that Radhe still is a big screen experience. It may not be for you, it may not be for me, but there is a large diaspora of people out there who consider films like Radhe. Radhe is probably a very bad example I'm giving. I'm just explaining you the bottom of the bag. I'm not even talking about a James Bond or a Spider-Man. So as long as you have films like James Bond and Fast and Furious, I would want to see cinema alive because it's an experience. You don't go to a cinema hall only to watch a film. You do not go to a cinema hall only to watch a film. Gone are those days. You go there because it's an experience. We are used to seeing it as an experience, right? I mean, Purane Zamane mein, if you study the history of cinema, and I'm sure you have, people used to go out because it was like a family outing. It was like a tamasha. I mean, people used to go out to circuses and live events in the good old days. And then cinema came late 1800s, and since then, circuses and live events like those magic shows have been replaced by cinema viewings. And cinema obviously kept getting better and better and better and better. And over a period of time before you and I knew it, it turned into a commercial business. Yes, it has an art component, but please remember, cinema is as much a business as anything else. You think, somebody's running a cement factory and he's doing a business. Somebody's running a iron and steel plant, he's doing a business. Yes, he is. But somebody who's also running a cinema studio, a film studio, that person, he or she is also running a business. Lots of salaries that come out of the business. So if the return on investment of releasing a film, because please remember, when you release a film, it's not कि भैया आपने film बनाया, print बनाया और आपने release कर दिया. You all may or may not know this, but releasing a film in a theater is also an expense. There is something called the release cost. I know this because I've made films and I've released in it. There's something called the release cost. And Amrish sir, you may not be aware of this, but you will have to spend anything between 25 to 30,000 rupees per screen. Hear me out clearly. Per screen. तो जब हम देखते हैं ना कि आपकी फिल्म छोटी होती है तो आप क्यों 300 स्क्रीन में रिलीज करते हैं? Because you don't have the money. Just your release cost for 300 screens will be anywhere between 80 to 90 lakh rupees. Just your release cost. I'm not even talking about your promotion cost. I'm not talking about your promotion cost. Just your release cost will have to be 80 to 90 lakh rupees. Even if you beg, borrow, steal, maybe it will reduce by 5, 10, 20%. But 75, 80 lakh rupees आपका कहीं नहीं है. Add to that your promotion cost. So this is all a cost. So are you ready to incur, at least 2 to 3 crore rupees, which is like a Bihari budget? I mean, forget your James Bond and everything. That is on a different level. James Bond is not even our Oka. I'm talking about a great film that you've seen. The release cost with P&A, that is publicity and advertising. I'm not talking about the actual cinema cost. Your marketing cost, promotion cost, release cost will have to be a minimum of 2.5 to 3 crores, even for a Garib film, if you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, your Salman Khan film and all will be nothing less than 15 to 20 crores or sometimes even more. So it's a money game. It's a money game. We all think, yaar, main film banana chahta hu. A lot of times, I come across filmmakers who saying, boss, mujhe picture banana. But most of the time, they don't realize that it's not just about creativity. You actually need to go out and convince somebody to put in at least 10 to 15 crores. You know how much that much money is, right? 15 crores is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, nowadays we keep hearing about scams running into thousands of crores. So we think, अरे 15 crore कुछ नहीं. But आप गिनने जाओ, आप देखने जाओ, 15 crores is a lot of money for some people. So people who have that money, but I'm saying it's easier said than done. So you're actually making somebody invest a lot of money just because you think you have a great story to tell. If you have and somebody's putting in money, brilliant. So, that's what I want to say, that the future of cinema is not going to be very easy because A, I think the quality of content has gone down, and B, I don't know how many people will want to go out and watch films unless it's a very exciting film. Yes, there will be good films continuing to release, but will cinema halls be able to sustain their cinemas? Like, I don't know if you all guys are aware, but a lot of cinema chains, some of the most, prestigious, iconic cinema chains in Europe and US have shut down in the last 1 year. MGM, it's just recent news, less than 24 hours back. You all must have read the news. MGM Studios has been sold out to Amazon for $8.5 billion. And MGM is like, like god of cinema. I mean, you have some of the biggest. Forget James Bond. James Bond is another animal altogether. But besides that, also you have some of the most iconic titles that have been under the MGM banner, and it got sold out to Amazon. So the reason why they sold it out is obviously because, you need somebody of the caliber of Jeff Bezos who can keep pumping in money and keep running it. So it is going to be a tricky road ahead. I think there will be bigger players coming out now, and it's going to be the survival of the fittest. It's a great business to be in, but yeah, it's also a tough business to be in. I'd love to take questions, ma'am. I'd love to take questions from here if anybody has to say something.
Students, you can write your questions in the chat box.
If you have any question, ma'am, maybe you could, kind of
Of course,
initiate.
sir, of course, definitely. साइरस मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि सिनेमा it is like you are the person who has actually spoken about the financial thing regarding the cinema. But as far as we are now watching the emerging trends of cinema like OTT platforms and other streaming platforms, we have ample of varieties and opportunities for where we are able to watch the content. But if we are talking about the net availability to those areas where people they are not able to afford smart televisions or maybe the with the poor internet connectivity, then in this pandemic how cinema will reach to that section of the society?
No, so you're saying that people who don't have an internet.
Of course, if they don't have any good smart television where they can go for OTT platforms, or maybe they are not able to afford that subscription rates of those OTT platforms, then otherwise it is a very big challenge for cinema to reach that section of the society.
Yes, true. But nowadays, I have been to a lot of villages and I speak to people of, from different stratas of the society. And trust me, even the guy who washes my car has a mobile phone with a certain screen, because you get smartphones for 3,000 and 4,000 also nowadays. I'm not saying 4,000 is a very small amount, but a lot of these people, I think the smartphone penetration has been pretty good, and it'll only keep getting better over the next coming years. And a lot of you're probably talking about Netflix, which charges like some 500 or 600 rupees per subscription. But if you look at a lot of the cheaper platforms, like I think Z5 or MX or something, their subscription is, in fact, MX Player is free. And Z5, I don't know, but I think they charge like some 399 or something for the full year. And honestly, that's pretty affordable, man. Because अगर आप वो भी afford नहीं कर सकते, then they are not even the audience for the cinema halls. So I'm a staunch believer that people must pay for content, because free content is not something that I'm a fan of, because otherwise the content creator suffers. Like I'm sure there are a lot of people passing out of your school, and they spend a lot of time and money and energy in becoming like honing their talents to become an artist. And when they are ready to work and go out into the job market, obviously they need to make money. And the money for the content creator will only come from the ticket buying audiences. या तो आप पैसा दे के मतलब कंटेंट देखो, या फिर बहुत सारी एड्स मिलेंगी आपको, but the content creator needs to be compensated. So and I'm sure it's very affordable. I don't think the subscriptions of a whole lot of OTT platforms are pretty affordable.
Exactly. Yes, Rahil Khan wants to say something. Yes, sir.
Hello, hi Cyrus.
Hi Rahil, good afternoon, my brother.
Yeah, great to hear you. So my point is there are lots of students out there. Now the way you described, it's very factual what Indian cinema is today. The future doesn't seem very bright for the cinema halls and the theaters, the movie going community experience. Can you hear me?
Yes, obviously I can.
Okay. So from what you said, and which apparently is true nowadays, that's what it appears, that the future for the community going experience to a cinema hall with your family, friends, college gang and everything, the future doesn't seem to be very bright, which we can make out as of now because of lack of content and of course the lockdown and stuff. So it looks very bleak. So do you feel that ever things are going to turn around, or we are just heading down the way of OTT and mobile phones and stuff like that?
I am an eternal optimist, and if there's one reason I would want cinema halls to open, is because I'm looking forward to see the next James Bond film, No Time to Die. Because I'm a huge fan of James Bond. So I hope it does. And also, as I said, cinema is a business. So if the cinema business actually starts, kind of falling apart, a lot of people will lose jobs. Having said that,
Absolutely,
yes, the business is set for a recast. because I think there were a lot of inflated valuations and inflated pricings that we saw over the last few years. Like I mean, all these OTTs were paying like lakhs and lakhs of rupees, sometimes even crores of rupees for an episode here and there, and so on and so forth. And I don't see that sustainable. I don't see that sustainable.
Okay.
I'm sure there'll be some kind of price correction coming. Please remember, just in case a lot of people are wondering why is there suddenly so much money being thrown around, there is a lot of, and this is like a little information of economics, but there is a lot of cash liquidity glut in the market. When I'm saying liquidity glut, it means there's a lot of excessive liquidity, close to $2.5 trillion in the world, right? That is why you see a
Okay.
lot of money flying around. So will there be a lot of money going into content creation? I see a lot of money going into a lot of businesses as long as liquidity glut lasts. That's why you see a lot of these insane, sometimes unbelievable valuations for everything, and that includes, even films. Like sometimes films that you wouldn't give 2 cents for, some studio will randomly come and throw some money only because they've got funding from some VC or investor or something.
True.
So right now, that is the reason why you see a lot of liquidity glut. That's also the reason why an MX player can afford to bring you content for free, because they're funded by some, I think, Tencent or some Chinese investment company. So that is one of the reasons probably why cinema will find support. Where people will keep pumping in money and not really worry about the returns. But having said that, I think the future of cinema as we know it, for people to go out and buy a ticket in the cinema halls, I think that is something which we'll have to closely watch over the next year or two. There will be some films which will continue to release, but I do see a lot of films releasing directly on OTT platforms.
Mhm.
I could be wrong, but this is my opinion.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Rahil sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Cyrus, I have received few questions from the students.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm taking all these questions one by one. So this question is from Shubham Mandal. So
As
he
you.
wants to ask, good evening, sir. I just wanted to ask that in this shift of paradigm in cinema viewership from theaters to OTT platforms and also to web series, what do you think, that will web series take over the cinema in the future or not?
I don't think that is going to be the case, because please remember, whether it's short films, whether, I mean, and people keep asking me this all the time, and I say this all the time, that nothing really competes with each other. It's like saying, is Chinese food better than Mughlai food? I don't think that's true, because everything coexists, right? It's like saying just because Earth is there in our galaxy doesn't mean Mercury will now have to disappear. If 9 planets can coexist, for millions of years, why can't different formats coexist? Maybe right now I feel like seeing a web series. Maybe in the evening I have only 20 minutes, so I might watch a short film. Or tomorrow I'm in the mood to watch an interesting film. Like I would like to watch a good web series or a TV series like a Big Bang Theory in the evening, because I mean, I love the show, or a Friends for that matter. And at 9 o'clock, I would probably like to watch, a James Bond film or anything else that's coming on TV. So my simple question is, do you eat the same food every day? Answer is no. Today you like one kind of cuisine, tomorrow you like different. Sorry, ma'am, I think you're on mute.
Cyrus, I
Ma'am,
was on another call. Sorry.
yeah, sorry. So I'm just saying that, I think everything will coexist. I don't see one taking over the other. There is a lot of hype about web series, and they're good. Yeah, I mean, I may like a particular show, you may like some other show, a third person will like some other show, which is great. But I think all of us and all the formats will continue to coexist. So, yeah.
So I think Shubham, you have got your answer for both the questions, because in the second question, he was asking that do web series depicts more realistic content than cinema? So
Uh,
it is the same question, that everything can
no,
coexist.
yeah.
Now another question is from Ishika Vadva. Nowadays, people prefer series more than movies. and more deepen and longer stories, then they provide like a bane for cinema, the long series and the too much content on for the cinema. I think, Ishika, you are not clear with your question. If you can reframe it so that I can
All I'd like to say is I
ask
don't
in a
think
better
it's
way.
true that people prefer web series more than. I mean, I don't know where she gets this impression or data from, but my friend, that's not true. I mean, I would watch a web series and I would also watch a film. Why should two formats compete with each other? I mean, sometimes you would like to, I mean, everything coexists, right? It's like saying I've been to London. Is it better than New York? No, I mean, both cities have their own virtues and drawbacks. I mean, this city is good in its own way. That city is good in its own way. I mean, if you're comparing a bad film to a good web series, then that's a different point. Then you're comparing apples to oranges. But if you're comparing a good web series to a good feature film, I don't think they need to compete. Yeah, I mean, both are good in their own ways. So,
Okay, one student, Rishabh Patel, he wants you to share your views on censorship on OTT platforms.
I personally, and Amrish sir, in fact, knows this about me because we have these interesting arguments, on the group. Uh, I would like to answer the question in two ways. Uh, I personally am against censoring content unless it's done for the right reasons. When I'm saying the right reasons, I personally feel that in the Indian web shows and web series, especially, that have started coming in the last 2 years, 3 years, for some strange reason, I find there is unnecessary nudity or yeah, unnecessary का गाली. जहाँ कुछ नहीं भी देना होता है वहां भी माँ बहन की गाली दे देते हैं. I mean, each to his own. Everyone is grown up to watch, but I don't think that's a very kind of what is the point? I mean, what are you trying to show? That am I a cool filmmaker? I'm a new age filmmaker. I'm a young filmmaker, and you're an old audience. So hey, listen, you don't understand this gali, but I'm a young cool filmmaker. So मैंने अपने फिल्म में 4 गालियां रख दी, मतलब I become a cool filmmaker. What? What is the point? So I personally am not really in favor. Should this be censored? I don't know if censoring is the right word. Maybe it should be self-censored. ठीक है, अगर कहीं गाली देनी, I mean, you can always show a dark, like I always give the example of Sholay, when you had a Gabbar Singh, and his character came across so beautifully as a village decoy, and I don't think he's used a माँ बहन की गाली even once. So I don't understand what he trying to achieve कि यार मेरे कैरेक्टर ने गाली दे दी मतलब वो बहुत कूल हो गया, या किसी लड़की ने गाली दे दी या सिगरेट पी ली या मतलब वहां पे कपड़े निकाल दिए, so you become like women's lib. I don't know, यार. I really don't know. I'm not against nudity, but I think a lot of shows in the last few seasons that have come have unnecessarily gone into that zone for titillation. Is perhaps I feel. Again, these things are very subjective. Sometimes just to look cool you might say उसमें क्या है, that is creativity and so on and so forth, but I don't know. But over here I think the government is not unfortunately trying to censor because it wants to kind of beat the bad words. They're probably trying to clamp down or censor on content which doesn't show them in a good light. And I think any government of the day, irrespective of whoever is in power, if they're trying to clamp down just because uncomfortable questions are being asked, I don't think that is a good thing. So some fringe element will stand up and say, oh, this is against my religion and that is against my religion. Whichever community, whichever part of the country, whichever part of the world, it could be India, it could be France, it could be Cambodia, it could be China, whichever. I don't think, you need to use censorship laws to clamp down on those aspects. If you're trying to cut down on unnecessary nudity or unnecessary violence or, certain things which you feel could have not a very nice impression on young impressionable minds, not a bad idea, but I don't really think censorship is being used for those purposes. That's my belief.
Okay.
Cyrus, I want to ask something about the area in which you have been working a lot, that is about the short films.
Awesome.
Now, I mean, if you can tell us a comparative thing as to what was the status or what was the position of the short films till 10 years or 20 years back when you would have thought of starting a short film movement, what is their status in today's time? Also, keeping in view that these all OTT platforms are there, wherein some of them are even putting the short films on their
Correct.
platforms. And
I,
what do you feel? What do you feel? What will be the future of the short films?
I'll just give you a very simple answer, sir, that till 10 years or 12 years back when we started, we had to literally go out and explain to people the very concept of short film. People thought, is it like an ad film? Is it like that Mickey Mouse film that you see, on TV in the good old days? Those little things which you saw, on in cinema halls before your film started. 5-10 minute की जो public service films दिखाई जाती थी. So we had to explain the concept of short films. And today we are actually having this discussion, and I'm guessing there are close to 100 plus students attending, and many more students whom we would have reached out to. And I don't think you had to explain to even one student the concept of short films. So I think this has been the success that we have had. I'm very proud to say that we've pretty much single-handedly popularized the whole concept of short films for a lot of y'all who may not have known, or maybe y'all must have been in kindergarten at that time. But Shamyana, in its current avatar, started when I was just about in college, which was in 2003, 2004, as far as the whole concept started. It as I said, it's taken us a long way to even get here, because in those days there were very, very few media colleges or courses. The only media school that immediately came to your mind was probably an FTI in India or an SRFTI. I mean, in those days you didn't have social media, so people couldn't even, like today, you can easily share and tell people, okay, this is something new. Today, if you come out with something new, like everyone knows what a cryptocurrency is, because of there's so much of platforms available for people to share things with each other. Otherwise, most people wouldn't even know what a cryptocurrency is had it been like 10 years back, because the speed with which information traveled was much slower. I mean, those were the times of Rediff Mail and Hotmail and MSN. So, उस ज़माने में, I mean, you had to literally contact person by person, explain people, and then obviously things grew. And today we reach out to over 25 cities across the country. We've had screenings in different cities of the world, that includes London, that includes Dubai, that includes Hong Kong, Mauritius, Sydney, so on and so forth. Various cities and towns of India. So it's been a fun journey. It's been a satisfying and a gratifying journey, and I think something that I wouldn't trade for anything else.
But
So
what will be the commercial aspect, like as you explained in the case of the feature films, the whole commercial aspect. But here, if some money would have been put in by a filmmaker in making a short film, how that money can be recovered and how the
very good,
profits can be made?
very good question, sir. So in fact, a lot of people who come to me and say, "Listen, if I'm making a short film, what are the avenues for my recovery?" Profit to secondary here, but many times, most short filmmakers want to recover the money so that they can go out and make their next film. So the good news is that today there are a bunch of platforms, quite a few platforms. If you were to Google around and stuff, you may already know of some, but you can always ask around. There are a bunch of platforms which are probably buying your short film outright. Have to be good. So there's no guarantee, but there's no guarantee even for a feature film कि आपने बना दिया और कोई खरीदेगा या कोई देखेगा, कोई guarantee नहीं है. Similarly, for a short film, there is no guarantee, but if a film is good, you will end up finding a buyer. So firstly, you have people who will, kind of perhaps buy your film if it is good. Maybe if you're not able to sell your film, the second option is there are a lot of platforms like Disney, Hotstar, and MX Player, YouTube, Falana Dhamaka. There are a bunch of platforms on which you can run your film on a revenue share basis. So you will keep getting your money for months and months and months to come. So that is the second option. Third is you can actually go out and kind of send your film to festivals, and that way you can always get some prize money and kind of make money through that as well. So to answer your question, yes, there are a lot of options that are available to people. But your film will really have to be good. Also, if you made a good short film and it's really really good with some well-known people, it also opens up a lot of doors for you as a filmmaker because you can show that and you can pitch yourself as a filmmaker or as a director or as whatever. So yeah,
Okay, Cyrus, one question I would like to ask.
sure.
Is Shamiana connected with some kind of film society or any fan club? Or do you actually believe that fan clubs, they are another emerging platform or emerging trend for cinema and cinema production team?
In fact, Shamina itself has a huge following, ma'am,
I
and we are
know
in
that,
fact,
sir, because I am into the study of fan clubs, and I know that Shamiana is another platform
we are
to connected their admirers and fans at one platform. So, what is your view on the working of film society in this post-pandemic era?
I think film societies have done a very good job of connecting film enthusiasts and film lovers together, and it's like a common interest group. But I always keep encouraging people and keep suggesting to people that go out, create content, and use this opportunity to do something for yourself. Source out talent, talk to like-minded people if you want to make a career out. I mean, say someone like you just wants to, you're a movie lover and you're just happy connecting with people and, kind of being an admirer of filmmakers, great. But if you are looking, or if any of your students are looking to, practice the art of cinema or become a filmmaker, I would say use these platforms to go out, connect with like-minded people, source out technicians or actors or whoever you want to, maybe even investors who could help you with crowdfunding, and go out and make a film, make a short film, not about a feature film, make a short film. So why not? Yeah, why not? Use these platforms to, kind of harness your talent and God willing, go further in life.
Okay, fine. I think we will be going to take the last question. Siddharth Kukreja wants to ask. Yeah, Siddharth.
Hi, sir. Good evening to you. Sir, my question will be helpful to a lot of film aspirants and also people who are looking forward toward films. So, can I ask this question in Hindi because this can help a lot of people?
Please.
हाँ जी. तो सर मेरा सवाल ये है कि अभी जो करंट सिनेरियो चल रहा है फिल्म इंडस्ट्री का जो हम देख रहे हैं, सो क्रू हैज बीन लिमिटेड टू लाइक 30 to 35. तो उस 30-35 के अंदर देर आर एवरी पर्सन ऑन द सेट, लाइक डायरेक्टर से लेके डीओपी टू लाइटमैन टू एवरीथिंग. तो पहले क्या था, लाइटमैन ज्यादा होते थे, सो योर वर्क इज मच मोर इजियर एंड कन्वीनियंट. और like you have spots on set, तो spots भी reduce हो गए, production people have been reducing day by day. So बहुत लोग are losing their jobs and उनकी jobs जा रही हैं दिन by दिन. तो will situation get better and this will get back to the same track, or people are gonna just move with this system because producer का बहुत पैसा बच रहा है उसके लिए. 30-35 का जो crew है, that is saving a lot of money for him. So will he be continuing on the same pace or he'll be going with the earlier methods?
That's $1 million question, सिद्धार्थ. लेकिन मैं सिर्फ आपको एक ही बात बताना चाहूंगा कि जब फॉर वट एवर रीजन, ओके, जब डिमोनेटाइजेशन हुआ था, गुड बैड अगली, दैट्स डिफरेंट डिस्कशन ऑल टुगेदर, लेकिन बहुत सारे लोगों ने डिजिटल मनी यूज करना शुरू किया था. करेक्ट? शायद आप भी उसमें से होंगे, मैं भी था, बहुत सारे लोग थे, पेटीएम, गूगल पे, जो भी था. थोड़े समय बाद अगेन कैश केम बैक इन योर हैंड, but you still continue to use digital money, right? You didn't go back to using because आपको एक convenience आ गया, ठीक है? उससे बहुत लोगों का नुकसान हुआ, इकोनॉमी का नुकसान हुआ. वो सारा डिस्कशन इज एक अलग डिस्कशन. ये सिर्फ एक लिमिटेड पॉइंट बताने के लिए आपको जो बोलता. सो मेरे ख्याल से शायद ये भी वही होगा कि समटाइम्स चेंजेस जस्ट स्टे. ये इट इज नॉट अ मतलब ये एक बरसात नहीं है कि मतलब 2 महीने बाद 3 महीने बाद चली जाएगी एंड अगेन द सन विल शाइन. Some of the changes I personally feel, from whatever little understanding I have of human behavior, will be here to stay, especially for the small films. देखिए बड़ी फिल्मों में जहां आपको ग्रैंडियर चाहिए, शायद प्रोड्यूसर बोलेगा कि यार नहीं. And why just cinema? A lot of companies I know, a lot of plants, a lot of factories I know will become automated, brother. तो फिल्म्स तो सिर्फ एक इंडस्ट्री की बात कर रहे हो. लॉट ऑफ बिजनेसेस, लॉट ऑफ जो हम आज की तारीख में जहाँ ह्यूमन इन्वॉल्वमेंट देख रहे हैं, फैक्ट्रीज या मिल्स जिसमें हजारों की तादाद में लोग काम करते हैं, हजारों की तादाद में काम करते हैं. जैसे मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल दूंगा, मर्सिडीज प्लांट आपने शायद सुना होगा, जर्मनी में है. आई थिंक इट्स इन फ्रैंकफर्ट या कहीं पे है. सिद्धार्थ सर को, सर अमरीश सर को पता होगा. सो फॉर वट एवर रीजन, शायद कुछ हुआ होगा, कुछ चेंज आया होगा. द होल प्लांट, सिद्धार्थ, इज ऑटोमेटेड. Am I right, Amrish sir?
Yeah.
Whole plant is automated. शायद एक या दो लोग काम करते होंगे, बहुत चंद लोग काम करते, पता नहीं. जहां कम से कम मेरे ख्याल से 500 या 1000 लोग काम करने चाहिए, ज्यादा लोग काम करने चाहिए. तो whole plant is automated. So your guess is as good as mine. Will people lose their jobs? Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. और शायद मेरे आपके लिए बहुत आसान है कहना, because God has been kind to someone like you and me. But yeah, I mean, I pray that
another addition to just a small addition to my question is that do you think that automated machines would come up for like camera handling and everything, and just there will be a DOP who will be handling from the screen, and there is a director who's sitting behind a screen and just directing him on the screen, on spot editing, everything going on?
Yes, and in fact, to answer your question, there is already a lot of progress that's happening in artificial intelligence in cinema. They're talking about having artificial intelligence in surgery, sir, जो बहुत भारी काम होता है. So cinema is much lighter than that. In surgery, मतलब you're dealing with somebody's human body. वहाँ पे one error and you're gone. तो फिल्म में तो फिर भी retake हो सकता है. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying there'll be zero people on the set, but human involvement will go down to a large extent. It's only a matter of time. Will it happen? Unfortunately, yes. जो पैंडेमिक हुआ है या जो कोरोना हुआ है या आगे भी अगर ऐसा ही चलता रहा, तो ये सिर्फ एक इस पूरे प्रोसेस को मतलब एक जल्दी कर देता है. जस्ट बी अ कैटलिस्ट. इट ओनली एक्सेलरेट. अगर ये पैंडेमिक नहीं भी हुआ होता तो भी शायद ये आने वाले सालों में तो होने वाला था ही. हम नहीं करते, शायद जर्मनी वाले करते, शायद फ्रांस करते, and at some point this technology would have come to us. So, I mean,
Thank you so much, sir.
Change तो होना ही है, whether we like it or not.
Well, thank you so much. It was indeed a very enlightening session.
Thank
Before wrapping up, I would really like to share a brief information regarding our guest of the day. Cyrus Dastur is the founder of Shamiana, and he has more than 10 years of experience in the film production. He has produced Bollywood feature film Sweetie Desai Weds NRI, a TV series, and two musical productions, Strangers in the Night and The Names Bond. A short film titled Kash has written by Cyrus and produced by his company, that is Shamiana, and it has actually crossed all the records on Hotstar Disney. Students, I have shared both the links in the chat box. Do follow the links, watch the trailers, watch the movie. And the company Shamiana is Asia's largest and fastest growing short film company. It is an internationally acclaimed company with its presence in the big cities like London, Melbourne, and Hong Kong. The company is officially working in more than 15 cities of India. For over a decade, Shamiana has been active in curating and producing content for numerous online and on-ground programs and various events. Shamiana is also working in collaboration with various finest brands like Yes Bank, Star Movies, Taj Hotels, WeWork, Levi's, and to name a few. As a part of its education initiative, Shamiana is also working in association with Hill Springs School, Ecole Mondale School, Jai Hind College, Sumaya College, and St. Andrews College. Thank you so much, Cyrus sir, joining for the session. Now I request Saxena sir, Professor Dr. Amri Saxena, Dean DME Media School, to extend his vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manmeet. So it was indeed a very interesting session. And we knew this because film is such a subject which interests everybody, whether somebody wants to make a film or not. But in any case, everybody watches film. and everybody takes interest in film. And I mean, and this has been since there used to be no internet, no OTT, but films have always been there for the last 100 years in this country, have been the fascination of the common people, rather everybody in the society. So in our students also, there are a number of such students who wish to make films. They are already making short films, because in the era of YouTube, anybody can make a short film and can put on the YouTube. So they are already making the short films, and they, many of them, we know, they aspire to be the filmmaker and to move to that way and to join the film industry. So that way, we thought that whatever information, more clarity will be there in their minds to have about the film production, about cinema, and also that will really be helpful. And then since Cyrus has such an experience in filmmaking, and particularly in training and teaching the students, so he could answer the questions to the satisfaction of the students, which was really an amazing thing. So we owe to him for this, for sparing time and talking about a subject which is of interest, and disseminating all that information and knowledge, which could be the usable thing for our students. So thank you, Cyrus, for being with us, and thanks to all the participants, all the students who have joined this session and who have been having all this patience to be here for more than an hour. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And stay safe. All of you all stay at home. These are tough times. And let's all, hopefully, I will come to Delhi, sir, and I will come to a campus once times are a little normal.
Yeah, most welcome. Most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
so much.
inviting me.
Thank
Stay
you so
safe.
much, everyone. And thank you to Dr. Tinam Bora, Assistant Professor in DME Media School, and Siddharth Kukreja, one of our talented student in DME Media School, for their technical support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Thank you and stay safe.
The first impression that comes to our mind about any college: tall buildings, big classrooms, large lobby areas, thick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects. Nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona, cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.